Hello and welcome to Peaks Got 35 Saturday Chat, uh, where I talk about the week there was, the week there will be, and now in my hobby journey. The week there was, we had a interesting chat on Sunday night about knowledge in the hobby. Where do we get our knowledge from? People's thoughts on knowledge, how much is it important? Uh, why do we look at certain people? Why are some people put on pedestals? All that stuff. That is something I can do a weekly chat on probably. I don't even know if we scratched the surface really. A lot of food for thought. It was. Um, had my mind changed in that, which, if you're honest with your thoughts, you should be able to have you shouldn't be able to just give them up. But if you can't defend your thought and it makes sense, you should be able to change it. And and that was my thought on uh, just because you have a lot of money doesn't make you a genius. But Victor pointed it out. Well, it helps them to buy more product, which gives them more experience with certain things. I, I will, yes, I understand, and it can, but to sit there and just tell me you're going to buy an 8 in a Hank Aaron, and somebody goes, "Ooh, that's smart," is it? You know, uh, I, I don't know if it is or not. That's up to you. Again, who you get your knowledge from, I think, is very subjective, uh, and what knowledge you're looking for. I honestly don't think you need a lot of knowledge if you just want to get into the hobby. When you start getting into very specific niches and things like that, uh, when you start going down rabbit holes, that's when the knowledge comes in. Um, you know, uh, I've had friends where people have had, and I don't know like certain cards, especially like pre-war. You have somebody that has that knowledge. But basically, if you want to start today and go, I want to start buying cards, it doesn't take any knowledge to go into a Walmart, pick up a blaster of Topps cards, pay for it, and then sit down and see if it was worth it or not to you to spend that money on those cards. That's a good starting thing. If you want to just get one player, I don't know where you need knowledge to go, hey, start collecting X player. You need to, if you don't know anything, okay, go to eBay. That's a good place to start. Go to ComC, Sport Lots, where you can start really cheap. ComC, you can start really cheap if you're player collecting, and find where you're comfortable and what you're looking at. And then when you start getting in the nitty gritty, again, you probably need the knowledge. But I don't know how much we put this knowledge thing, and people are so far above other people in some of it. Yeah, I don't know. We're not talking about, history. Well, we are talking the history of a certain extent, but I don't think, you know, to me, buying vintage is not a hard thing other than you don't want to get taken on prices. That's my big problem with it. Uh, you kind of know what the big names are if you watch a sport at all or know a sport at all. Uh, I don't know. I'm probably way off base again, and you could leave a comment. I don't want to make this about that because we had that last week. Uh, got kind of went in the weeds, came back out. Um, so yeah, it's something I wrestle with when I see certain people either say uh, because especially when somebody says they've been on YouTube. Being on YouTube doesn't make you know jack shit about shit. Just makes you just have the guts enough to turn the video on and to watch it, and or turn the camera on and get in front of it. I'm here to tell you that for personal basis. But you show what knowledge you have very quickly. Uh, so, I there you have it. That's the kind of the way I feel about that overall takeaway from last week, and still grappling with some of it every day. And it's not in a bad way or anything. It just makes me think. I tend to over analyze, overthink things, uh, and like to know why things are the way they are. Uh, I'm not one that just things are because they are. There's got to be a reason why things happen, um, and I like to look into that. So uh, not just in sports cards, but in my whole everything. And sometimes it gets me in trouble, but because I ask too many questions. But I just like to know. Um, let's see. So that was Monday night. And that was with JD and uh, Victor and Mike O. So we had a nice roundtable discussion. The reason why I thought of the Victor has done a similar video. He's also what we call, he is the rookie card specialist. So when somebody says they're a specialist, they better have damn well have knowledge, right, of that. He does. He knows his stuff, and he talks to influential and people that we tout as people with knowledge in this hobby on a regular basis. So it was nice to have his input. And JD, if you ever watch his video, he's a humble guy when you talk to him. But he is a school teacher. So when he does videos with comparing and contrasting and things like that, he says he don't put a lot of work, but to some people it just comes easy. And he has a very good thought process when it comes to some of this. He does talk about selling. I kind of glance over those, but sometimes for me, even in those videos with him, has good information for collecting and why people collect. I like to know why people collect the way they collect. Why are people spending $5,000 on a RPA of somebody that hasn't done anything? Why does Mahomes' value go down after winning a Super Bowl? Why does Otani plateau? Why certain things happen? And he has some good ideas on all of that. And I've jumped on board with a couple of those as at least part of the reason. So that's why I had him on. And of course, Mike, when you start talking about YouTube and knowledge, over 10 years on YouTube. So when you talk about YouTube OGs, and I just said being on YouTube doesn't make you automatically know what you're talking about, but if you watch any of his videos, pretty quickly he knows what he's talking about. If you walk around with him at a show, looking at pre-war, I don't have a dog in that hunt. I like to look for certain catchers. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I'm showing off some cards later. But especially after going to the Hall of Fame, I was just thinking, I haven't even been a month removed from that, but it's still very forefront in my mind when I'm thinking baseball right now. I don't know if anybody else is like that. So we'll go to Monday with my dad talking playoff, our World Series, thoughts on it, and then about the awards, maybe MLB and some of the channels and writers. We've gone a little nuts, duplications on awards. Then that was a fun chat. Getting my dad's idea on that, and then let's see, Wednesday showed just a little stack of cards, mostly from Mike O LLC. Then I think I stamps. Don't forget, post office has stamps. If you didn't know, that might be new to some of y'all. And they have subject matter, and they've been running a baseball subject matter for a while, and Star Wars for me. So I'm kind of keeping an eye. I've been neglecting, and I always look. And this time they had Yogi Berra, so I'm not a Yankees fan. I almost said Mets, a Yankees fan. But Yogi is one. You'll see him behind me here. I love catchers, so you have. I mean, that's a Mount Rushmore behind me. You got to get some Yogi stuff. I'm starting to look at more and more of his playing day stuff that I can afford. And I mean, he's not top on my list or anything, but got to have some Yogis in your if you're like me and a catcher's fan. So showed off some of that stuff. A lot of it was like the newer stuff that came out, flashbacks. Just not this year's flashbacks is not tickling the fancy, especially at the price point it was at. Just ridiculous. And I don't like the whole uncommon, common, uncommon, rare. I don't like that. It's too much for my brain. I don't like this design. Didn't like it the first time. Don't like it this time. Let's see. So I'm trying to think. So didn't do a Nerdy Thursday. Has some huge issues at work. Not me personally, but work. We got some huge issues there. People, if you don't know who the stuff is from, don't open it on your interwebs. It's just that simple. If it looks weird, don't open it. Get in touch with whoever has sent it to you and see if it's real or not. That's my 2 cents for today. Now you know. Let's see. So that gets me to here. I'm trying to think. I was like, wow, this week went by fast. So it's Saturday today. And a couple of thoughts. I can understand this thought to a certain degree. And that's why I don't collect just one thing or one thing in that collection. So I've heard a few people say they're burned out, and people that collect, like they collect. They don't really sell. And I can understand that to a certain point. Yeah, you can do that on anything. I don't know if it's burnout or you're bored or you need something to challenge you. There might be a certain point. And I mean, that's why I have a couple of main collections in my cards, but also have little side projects all the time and always coming up with new stuff that keeps me like just my juices flowing in this hobby. And also I collect outside of cards or sports memorabilia with my Star Wars, with video games. Do I put as much time and effort into those collections? No. But I enjoy them. It just, when I do feel a little card fatigue, I can go over to that, and then that really rejuvenates me back into cards, or a new product comes out. And let's just take a sedicate with this new product, and that's all I want to say on that. Not a big thing on that, but the next thing I want to talk about is product right now, tops. Fanatics, you own printers. You need to spread some of this out. This right now, at the end of the baseball season, I don't know if they're trying Fanatics now because they're more of a retail store than they are a card owner, new card owners. Are they setting up for the holiday season? I don't know. But my God, you already, the update, Chrome update, that's two sets right there, or two card that come out at the end of the year. But we've had just one right after another, high end, medium end, low end, overpriced, specialty cards like flashbacks, T206 high number, uh, archives. Archives to me is $139 price point. I've seen it, love the product on the inserts. I don't love the base cards. I'm tired of seeing some of these. Archives does nothing for me to get excited about. This year's base cards, inserts they've done is really, really good. It kind of rivals Big League, which Big League, you can get a box of hobby for $35 if you want to rip. And if you're a flipper and you get, a couple of the bigger name rookies or the rainbow foil or insert, and you get them graded, there's some opportunity there. $35 price point for having some fun. If you got a child, it's in your holiday thoughts of purchasing, and they're a sports fan at all, that might be a nice little stocking. $35 for Big League hobby box, not bad. And when you're sitting here talking about archives being $139, and those cards hold probably the same value as a Big League card does. I don't understand. Archives is supposed to be their low end product. I've watched several. The best thing about this year's archives is the lunchbox, and also 79 comics cards. Those inserts. That the rest of the inserts, like the poster card on the top, they've done that before. It's nothing new. It's not. And I just don't. Tops they can't come up with the original stuff, so they're just going to keep regurgitating the same old stuff. If it's this year's style in 14 different ways, holiday, chrome, they got rid of opening day, so that was one less in this year's version that we didn't have. They put Big League into that. Again, Big League, I really, really enjoyed that for a low-end product. Again, and not only that, if you know somebody that's in the hobby that just doesn't have a lot of money, that would not be a bad gift. This is Big League. And if they get mad over that, throw it at them and send it to me. I'll be more than happy to open a box of Big League. Shoot, I was thinking about ordering a box just to have another box of it. I really enjoyed the inserts. And there's plenty of them. That just tells me, too, they printed it to the moon, which I don't care. I want the cards. I don't care. I don't really care about base card print runs. I don't. And all these people that care about print runs don't buy Topps.com. They don't go to Panini to buy the card that was released of what happened over the weekend. They don't go to Open and Upper Deck and get the card that was released of the player, because those print runs are very low. They're over, if they're 1,000, that's pretty spectacular. But I'm running my gums a little bit too much because I do have some cards to show. But this is the chat portion, and we're going to get into all of this week. But first, I want to stop it here. I do want to show off 1970s Mets collection. So let's take it to Big Scott and let him show off some of his flagship run of 1970s Mets. Take it away, Big Scott. Yes, and now we're going to take a look at my 70s decade. Start with 71. So I'm trying to do this best I can. Hide that. That'll help. So 71, we all know, is notoriously tough. So these are going to be some rough ones in here. A little side note, I do have a 71 project where I'm collecting the whole set, but very slow roll on that one. I was just sitting here thinking while looking at this, maybe that's something I can do. It's not hugely expensive to get some of the lower. I have a lot of the higher end cards already. But there are some like base ones that you would think in a 7 or a 6 wouldn't be so tough, but where they were at on that sheet that year was notoriously cut bad, very bad cut, and they are a little bit tougher. This card right here goes for a little bit more you would think for it being a 71 Nolan Ryan. This is going to be Ron Taylor, the rookie Mets. This one was a little pricey as well. But then you get into 72. It's a fun set. Not my favorite by any means. But, Ed Kranepool will play there forever. Tug McGraw. I miss these team cards. If Topps Archives needs to bring back the team cards, man. That and manager cards. If you're going to do an Archives flashback like Heritage, one of those needs to bring back, I would think. Ken Singleton. His son made a nice return to the Astros this year. That was neat to see. Great Tom Seaver pick there. I don't know why that's in action, but it is. Grote played there for a while. It's just nice to look back, and think of the history of the Mets. You'll see things that, some players that you didn't think of. The great puzzle cards were on the back of the inactions, puzzle pieces. So, again, Mets 73. The Willie Mays is on here because he was with the Mets this year. He's in that checklist. So have to pick it up. I do like the 73 cards. This little thing right here, they use these type of silhouettes a lot in the early 70s and late 60s. I have an old NFL playbook that they had for kids or whatever. I I could show that one time, and it has these same like silhouette things. They did it in a lot of toys, stuff like that. Very generic. It just screams early 70s, late 60s. To me, it does. I was born in 71. Uh, so this is my favorite set. 74. This is when my collection really. I don't have a ton of 74, but I have 74s that I pack pulled. I was only 2 or 3 years old. I didn't. My dad would open them and put them in my collection. But me and him would talk baseball, open up a pack. Wasn't something that was huge part, but we did it. This to me is a great card. This is a Palmer Seaver on the same card. And then here we have Nolan Ryan with the Angels in Seaver. I just think that's a great combo card. Yogi as a manager with the Mets. A lot of people don't realize that. Another fun Tom Seaver card I really like. Another Mets. I love the team card. When I was collecting my Gary Carter run, I was making sure, hey, I got to have all the team cards with them in it. Checklist. So it depends on what checklist you look at. If these 73 World Series cards are in it or not. I chose that they were. Again, this is my set collecting. This is my run of the Mets. You can do it however you want. I know certain people add like additional cards to it, things like that. I do not. I stay strictly with the Mets cards in the flagship. 75, just way too much going on. Never been a 75 fan other than my most important card is in it, which is Gary Carter, rookie card. Just not a fan of it at all. Not at all. I just think it's way too busy. I thought I had the Gary Carter rookie in here. I have to check because I thought I had it completed. I might have checked it off and just have it in my collection. I have several that I can put in here. That's not a big deal. Another fun, I like this one is not as, I don't like this one as much as 73, but again, with the generic cartoons. I love that picture of Jerry Grote wearing the whole, I have a little side project of cheap, well, not even cheap, just catcher cards in full gear. They have to have the mask on. In a Z Folio that I have going on right now. I'll share that one weekend. Dave Kingman with Mike Schmidt. Victory leaders, just Tom Seaver on here. A couple of guys that didn't have long careers, very short careers. I know Randy Jones was around a little bit, but not that great at the time. But a lot of times you'll see, 2 or 3 Hall of Famers. Not that year. I just like after that 75 year, they kind of went back to a more basic. This right here to me is just a classic card, nice and clean, pennant on it, very nice. Again, Nolan Ryan and Tom Seaver. I just love that year with the manager down in the pennant. Love it. Oh, what am I thinking about Gary Carter with the Mets? Am I an idiot? Wouldn't be in this anyway. It'd be the Expos, and he's not in the Mets. Durr. I don't know what I was thinking. Y'all are probably all screaming at the screen. I'm going to look at dumbass, you're a dumbass in the comments, and I deserve it. Durr. Yell at me. Couple of just Lee Mazzilli, who was a great power hitter in his own right at one time. Rookies got Jack Clark, Rupert Jones. It's a couple of all-stars. Rupert Jones was not a bad player. John Matlock, Dave Kingman. They had some power on this team. That was probably about it. Ed Craple's still around. I do like these manager cards that had a player with a stamp. I miss manager cards, and when they did unique things like this to set it off, when they did the manager with the coaches in the early 70s, 60s, I love those. They're just neat cards. I mean, I just get caught just looking and staring when you're looking at these. You know, I do have them in numerical order. I don't have them like most popular cards somewhere. Bobby Valentine. Swan and Guidry. I think Swan was probably their best player that year. It almost looks like he has an aluminum bat in his hand in his picture. It's probably about the only way he could hit it out the ballpark. Yeah, the Mets weren't very good at this time. They were decent. Bobby again. I forgot how, what was it, 10 years after this he was coaching the Mets? Jerry Kuzman. 1980. This is when I started really understanding cards, collecting. 8, 9 years old. This is when I really started to understand what was going on. Really not having a lot of cards from this time, but still, that's when I kind of really had a great understanding. All of these are trickling. I had to buy some. Of course, I didn't have the robust collection. And I'm going to say when I get to the 80s, just going to be hammered. But that is it. We'll end with the 80s. And if you don't know how a decade works, it's 10 years, starts with the 1 and counts through 10. That's why I always did 70 and then I did 80. So that's a true decade. Anyway, enough with the math. That's going to be it for today. Next time when I have some time or we don't have anything else to talk about in the hobby as much, we'll look at the 80s. I think I have the 80s run done. And that's when we will see Gary Carter in a Mets uniform. So back to you, Big Scott. So Big Scott had one job: show some cards and be happy about that. But you're sitting here talking about Gary Carter in 75, Mets flagship. You moron. You dumbass. You are not. We just talked about having knowledge, and you talk like that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Boy, they're gonna have a field day with you. And RCI or RIC or whatever those guys are called. But anyway, so the next week, Sunday, fun night. After having last week, I just want to sit back, chat. We'll talk about it next week. But so we'll just chat about what's going on. Hopefully have a couple of guys. We'll just talk about I really want to talk about, as a person in the hobby or anybody right now in modern, how do you keep up with all the product coming out right now? What's your thought process? Is this something we think that Fanatics is going to do? Come with y'all's thoughts on that. Also, with all the awards, is this going to have any effect? Because this year, they're really pushing the awards. I mean, I don't know if it's lack of TV or, stuff on TV or what, but it seems like the baseball awards are getting pushed a lot more this year than they have in the past. Or maybe it's just me because I'm interested in that crap. And, as I'm wearing a Capitals hat, but it is hockey season. So we'll talk about that. And so please come with comments, questions, and, calling me out on dumbness. Let's see. And then Monday, me and my dad, we're going to talk about, we're going to be the GMs of our teams and what our teams need to do moving forward. So that's going to be interesting. I know my dad, he's going to be well prepared for that. Me, I'll just go off the cusp and what I've been reading. Wednesday, I do have a couple of different cards. I have an SGC order coming from Mike, and I have a CGC order coming in that I sent in. Not much sports in them, though, now that I thought about what was in them. So I don't know what I'm going to show Wednesday. I might just show the sports ones because I do have the new channel. And the rest of them will probably be shown on the new channel because it's non-sports, geeky. I might show them on both, have a video on each talking about them. And that's what I most likely do. But we'll wait and see on that. Which I will be video gaming it up on the other channel tonight, Saturday. Let's see. So that will be happening on Wednesday, and that's about it. I might have a Nerdy Thursday on here. I don't know what my future holds with Nerdy Thursday on this channel. If you are interested in that, let me see if I can't. Let's see. This is my other channel. Get off my lawn, Old Man Gaming. If you are interested in that type of stuff, I only have a couple of videos up right now, trying to figure out my direction in that, and also like when I'm going to do things because of my job schedule. Working second shift, it's not terrible. I do miss a lot of sports. I miss when a lot of YouTubers are live. I can't really interact. It's a little upsetting to me. And it's tough for me to schedule things instead of working the first shift and getting off and having your evenings free and nights. I'm working that time. So got to figure out how I'm going to do this. And until I do get on first shift, which I think by next year should be. But that's about it for today. Rambled on way too long. So until next time, like, share, tell a friend. Tell me how much of an idiot I am for having Gary Carter and the Mets thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. So until next time, see ya.